stood in front of them, you've taken the photos, you thought you knew everything about them. But what if I told you some of the most visited places on Earth are hiding secret rooms, hidden apartments, and underground bunkers, and almost nobody knows they exist? Today on Retro Remind Network, we're going behind the walls and beneath the stages into secret spaces that governments didn't want you to find. These aren't legends. These aren't myths. Every single one of these hidden rooms is completely real, and some of them have never been opened to the public. Not once in their entire history. Welcome back to Retro Remind Network, the channel where we dig up the hidden histories of the world you thought you already knew. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You do not want to miss what's coming later in this video. We're saving the most incredible one for later, a secret room hidden beneath one of the most romantic buildings in the world that actually inspired one of the most famous stories ever written. Stay until the end for that one. But first, let's start with a secret hiding in plain sight at the very top of the world's most photographed tower. Secret 1. Eiffel Tower hidden apartment. Every year, millions of tourists flood Paris just to see the Eiffel Tower. They take the photos, ride the elevators to the top, and go home. But here's what almost none of them know. Hidden right there, at the very top of that iron tower, is a fully furnished private apartment. And for most of history, only one man was ever allowed inside. His name was Gustave Eiffel, the engineer who designed the tower for the 1889 World's Fair. While the public marveled from below, Eiffel had quietly built himself a 1,076 square foot private apartment on the third floor, just below the spire. It had wooden furniture, old paintings on the walls, scientific equipment, and a small piano. It even had its own open-air balcony with the most extraordinary view of Paris imaginable. When word got out, wealthy Parisians and European aristocrats begged Eiffel for just one night inside. He refused every single one of them. His only guests were personal friends, and on one occasion, Thomas Edison himself. Edison came to visit and presented Eiffel with one of his phonograph machines as a gift. Two of the greatest minds of the 19th century, sharing a private dinner above Paris, in a room the whole world walked beneath, but never knew existed. Today the apartment has been restored, and visitors can finally peek inside, but you still can't stay the night. Some secrets are worth keeping. Up next, America, where a famous monument is hiding an entire secret chamber behind one of its most famous faces. Secret 2. Mount Rushmore hidden chamber. Mount Rushmore. For giant presidential faces carved into a granite mountain in South Dakota, you'd think a monument this famous, this photograph would have no secrets left. You would be wrong, because hidden directly behind the head of Abraham Lincoln is a secret room that the U.S. government sealed from the public and placed classified documents inside forever. The sculptor of Mount Rushmore, Gutzon Borglum, had a vision far beyond for presidential faces. He wanted to carve an entire hall of records behind the mountain, a grand chamber with an 800-foot staircase, big enough to store America's most important documents. Think about that. The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all of it sealed inside a granite mountain for future civilizations to find. A time capsule carved into a cliff. Workers actually started blasting the chamber, then funding ran out and Borglum died in 1941. The unfinished room sat dark and empty for decades. Then in 1998, the National Park Service quietly went back in and placed a titanium vault on the floor containing 16 porcelain panels describing the monument and a brief history of the United States. Borglum's dream scaled way down. And then they sealed it again. No public trail has ever been built to the chamber. That room still sits there today behind Lincoln's forehead, waiting. 2 secrets down, 5 to go. The next one is the most poetic because the hidden space beneath this next famous building inspired one of the greatest mystery stories ever told. Let's go underground. Secret 3. Paris Opera House underground lake. The Palais Garnier. The famous Paris Opera House is one of the most ornate buildings on the planet. Its grand staircase, its golden auditorium, millions of visitors walk through its halls every year. But deep beneath the stage, 10 meters underground, hidden from every single one of those visitors, is something that sounds completely impossible. A lake, an actual underground lake, beneath a building in the middle of Paris. When construction began in 1861, workers kept hitting water. The ground beneath Paris was marshy. The water table was high, and no matter what they tried, they could not stop the flooding. For 8 full months they battled the water. Finally, architect Charles Garnier made a decision that changed everything. Instead of draining it, he built around it. He constructed a massive concrete cistern to contain the water and stabilize the building's foundations. An underground lake was born beneath one of the world's most glamorous stages. Today, Paris firefighters use the underground lake for underwater rescue training, and there are confirmed reports that a small population of fish, mostly carp, live down there in the dark, fed occasionally by maintenance staff. The lake is completely closed to the public, but here's the most incredible part. Novelist Gaston Leroux heard about this underground water and the hidden passages and used it all as the inspiration for his 1910 novel, The Phantom of the Opera. Reality is stranger and more beautiful than fiction. Coming up next, we're heading to the happiest place on Earth, which, it turns out, is hiding an entire secret underground city that guests never get to see. Secret 4. Disney World's secret underground city. Walt Disney was obsessed with perfection. When Disneyland opened in 1955, he noticed a problem. Guests would sometimes see a cowboy from Frontierland wandering through Tomorrowland. The illusion was broken. Disney hated it. So, when he designed Walt Disney World in Florida, he built a solution so secret and so massive that most people who visit every year have absolutely no idea even exists. An entire city hidden underground beneath the park. Beneath the Magic Kingdom runs a massive network of tunnels Disney calls Utilidors, short for utility corridors. These are not small crawl spaces wide, well-lit tunnels big enough to drive vehicles through, spanning the entire footprint of the park above. Thousands of Disney cast members, that's what they call employees, use these tunnels every single shift. Characters can change costumes, restock supply carts, and travel across the entire park without ever being seen by guests above. The tunnels also contain cafeterias, wardrobe departments, hair and makeup stations, and a computer system monitoring the entire park from underground. Disney has offered rare backstage tour, but the full extent of what's down there remains closely guarded. After all, a magic trick only works if you never see how it's done. Even the happiest place on Earth has its shadows. Next, we're going to the most powerful address in the world, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and what's hiding underneath it. Secret 5. The White House secret tunnels. The White House is the most secure building in the United States, maybe in the entire world. There are layers upon layers of security the public will never fully know about, but one of its biggest secrets isn't above ground, it's below it. Hidden beneath the manicured lawn is a network of secret tunnels that have been used by presidents to escape, to plan, and to survive for over 80 years. The tunnel system was originally built in 1941 during World War II. After Pearl Harbor made it clear the U.S. mainland could be targeted, President Roosevelt ordered an underground passageway connecting the White House to the Treasury building so a president could escape without ever being seen. During the Cold War, the tunnels were expanded significantly. The Presidential Emergency Operations Center, the PEOC, was built deep underground beneath the East Wing, a fully operational bunker designed to let the president run the U.S. government even during a nuclear attack. Most Americans got a rare glimpse of how real this bunker is on September 11, 2001, when Vice President Dick Cheney was rushed through the White House tunnels to the PEOC. While the attacks unfolded, the tunnels are real, the bunker is real, and they go far deeper than the government has ever officially confirmed. If the most powerful man on Earth needs a secret escape route, maybe that tells us something about the world next. Across the Atlantic, where one of the most famous royal palaces on the planet is hiding its own network of secret passages and a panic room fit for a queen. Secret 6. Buckingham Palace Panic Room. Buckingham Palace, the official London residence of the British royal family. Over 77,000 people are invited to visit its grounds each year. Millions more line the gates hoping for a glimpse of royalty, but deep beneath those royal floors are secrets the British government has never officially confirmed. Government royal staff have spoken about them only in whispers, according to multiple former palace staff members and investigative reports. Buckingham Palace contains an extensive network of secret underground tunnels connecting it to key government buildings across London, including Downing Street, where the Prime Minister lives. Their existence has been partially confirmed, but their full extent remains classified under British national security laws. Beyond the tunnels, the palace is believed to contain a heavily fortified panic room hidden beneath the royal quarters. This panic room reportedly underwent major upgrades after a shocking 1982 incident when a man named Michael Fagan somehow bypassed all palace security, climbed through a window, and walked directly into Queen Elizabeth's bedroom. He sat on the edge of her bed and chatted with her for several minutes before security finally arrived. After that night, nothing about palace security was ever the same. Royalty is very good at keeping secrets. And speaking of secrets, the final hidden room in today's video is perhaps the most personal of all. It wasn't built for a president or a king. It was built by one of the greatest artists who ever lived in the final desperate hours before he thought he was going to die. Secret 7. Michelangelo's Hidden Room. Florence, Italy. The Medici Chapel, a stunning Renaissance mausoleum designed by Michelangelo himself, housing the tombs of the powerful Medici family. Millions of art lovers travel to Florence every year just to stand inside it. But in 1975, the museum director noticed something strange about a wardrobe in a small back room. He moved it aside, and what he found behind it stunned the entire art world. Hidden behind that wardrobe was a narrow staircase leading down to a small, forgotten room, and covering every inch of its walls, the ceiling, the doors, the rough stone surfaces, were drawings, hundreds of charcoal sketches drawn directly onto the walls. Art historians immediately recognized the style. Unmistakably Michelangelo's studies of the very sculptures that appear in the chapel above it was, they concluded, almost certainly Michelangelo's secret hiding place. In 1530, Michelangelo was in serious political danger. The Medici family had been temporarily overthrown. He had sided with the wrong faction, and now feared he would be arrested or worse, so he hid in this small underground room, waiting to learn if he would live or die. And while he waited, he filled the walls with his genius, as if he couldn't stop creating. Even in the darkest moment of his life, he survived. He was eventually pardoned, and the room was sealed and forgotten for over 400 years. A man hiding for his life alone in the dark, covering the walls with masterpieces that no one was supposed to ever see. That is perhaps the most human secret room in history, and it was hidden for 445 years. 7 Real secret rooms. A private apartment at the top of the Eiffel Tower, a hidden chamber inside Mount Rushmore, sealed from the public, an underground lake beneath the Paris Opera House that inspired the Phantom of the Opera, a secret underground city running beneath Disney World, classified tunnels beneath the White House, secret passages beneath Buckingham Palace, and a room in Florence where Michelangelo drew masterpieces on the walls while waiting to find out if he would live or die. The world is full of hidden things, famous things, things you thought you already knew. On this channel, that's exactly what we look for every week. Retro Remind Network goes back into history and pulls out the stories that were never supposed to be found. If that sounds like something you want to be part of, the subscribe button is right there. It's free and it means you'll never miss another secret. Leave a comment below which of these 7 secret rooms shocked you the most. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one. This has been Retro Remind Network.